Sorry, guys. Got interrupted. The devil called in the middle of this. Bill collectors. Well, I don't know anything. I don't even know who they are. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? So, yeah, this will be a two-part series then, because right now I don't even have the editing software, man. We're not going to merge them. You'll watch both. But let's get back to it. So, Revelation 18. We're going to start right here again at verse 10 about how the merchants are crying, watching America burn, standing afar off. So, verse 10. Revelation 18, verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beast and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And let me just input right here. If it's nuclear bombs, that's why they're scared. Because the nuclear radiation, it's going to spread over the whole planet. And the half-life of nuclear waste and stuff like that, sometimes 40 years, sometimes 100 years before the intensity of it dies down. So that heat is going to continue. So yeah, when they destroy America, whoever's left gonna catch it. So, okay. Verse 14. And the fruits that thou so lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. It's royalty. It's riches. That's what that symbolizes. Wealth. Number one economy in the world. That's us, baby. Mystery Babylon. Verse 17. For in 1 hour, and I believe that's literal, because the sneak attack, according to A.A. Allen and a few other guys, Gruber, who had Henry Gruber, who had dreams, submarines pull up on both coasts and attack at the same time. It's been a lot of dreams. You know, I don't know which one is going to come true, but maybe they all have a little piece of the vision and their dream fits in. But a lot of nations are going to attack us and defeat us in one day. At the same time, we fighting each other, according to Dimitri Duduman. Okay. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by the sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Now this is what God tells to the saints and the prophets and the apostles who are still around. See, they say there ain't no more apostles. That's what they try to teach, seminary school teacher. And they definitely say there ain't no more prophets. But look what God said. See, this is the times of the end. This is the Mystery Babylon destroyed. See, that it hasn't happened yet. And God is saying that this during this time, it's apostles on the earth and it's prophets on the earth. And the Christians The Hebrew Israelites, the Jews, the saints, the sons of God are still here too. Ain't nobody been raptured. You know why? Because it ain't gonna be no rapture. So God tells us, if we survive, if I survive, or God tells them, whoever is alive at this time, verse 20, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. I mean, they did them wrong. I mean, they did the prophets and apostles wrong. Killed them, imprisoned them, took their wealth, took their money, killed their kids, cut them in half, did whatever. Verse 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So with that one verse right there, America, or at least part of it, is going into the sea. They already said they think California may go down. They already have maps to where the whole east coast of the United States is underwater. I don't know if that's because the Wormwood star hits the ocean, or earthquake, nuclear bombs, who knows? But this thing is going down like Atlantis, underwater. Verse 22. And the voice of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. It's going to be quiet. Anybody with a skill, you ain't going to hear nothing. Ain't going to be nothing on the streets rolling. It ain't going to be nobody making nothing, building nothing, fixing nothing. It's going to be all burning. Verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And again, that word sorcery, the Greek word that's used there, pharmakia. See, that's the prescription drugs, pharmacy. That's where we get our word pharmacy, pharmaceutical. See, that's why we in Afghanistan still with the opiates. You see what I'm saying? Tell me this is this, and this, I didn't write this book. You see the words I wrote in here. I wrote stuff like this. See the underline? That's what I wrote in there. I didn't write this book. See that I wrote over here in the margins? I wrote that. I didn't write this book. And this was written over 2,000 years ago. And it's true today. It's happening now. It's like I'm reading the headlines out of a newspaper. Okay. And verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. You see what I'm saying? It's not saying that America or Babylon killed everybody, but the entities behind it, the policies, the ideology is what killed everybody. You see what I'm saying? There is a spiritual head of Mystery Babylon, and it's not the God of the Bible. It's not our Father. It's another one who will be defeated. That's it, guys. This is where we are. Ain't gonna be no rapture. Some of us might live to see it. Some of us might even live to the end of this year. Some of us might make it the 7 years where the population in the U.S. is supposed to drop down to 99 million. But whether we live or we die, we got to be in Christ. May the Lord have a blessing on the readers, hearers, and doers of his holy word.